Our second speaker is number 216. The title of the oration is Punchline. Number 216.
So there I was, out on the elementary school playground, playing on those cheap, rusty, disgusting, unsafe swings that the school provided, doing whatever it is a 5-year-old does on cheap, rusty, disgusting, unsafe swings. Then, without any warning, I was suddenly attacked from behind and thrown off the swings aggressively. And as I slowly turned around, I found myself staring apprehensively into the legs of my fearless opponent. 6'9", 865 pounds, bulging biceps the size of Titanic's budget. Anyway, there she was, getting ready to continue her vicious assault. And as I gazed up into Big Bertha's monstrous eyes, it felt as if she were Godzilla and I was one of those little tiny Japanese businessmen hopelessly awaiting my fate. So what did I do? I did the only thing I could do. I hurled. I hurled out a witty remark, a clever quip, a rapier retort, a jagged barb right in her face. So what if she clobbered me with her fists? I ruined her image with my wits. Granted, it wasn't such a pretty image to begin with. Yeah, I got the punch, but she got the punchline. Humor is one of the most commonly utilized forms of communication today. However, we often fail to realize that humor is a double-edged sword. It can cut us down and leave us painfully scarred, or it can be used to protect, encourage, and uplift our spirits. According to the August 1993 issue of Psychology Today, humor, like electricity, comes in two forms, positive and negative. What a shock! You see, on the one hand, we often use humor for the wrong reasons. But on the other hand, sometimes a human condition requires a little levity. Isn't it funny that for centuries, humor has been an elixir of sorts, helping to alleviate many problems that we face? There has always been a comedian in every group. Okay, for every king, there's a jester. For every class, there is a clown. For every French television set, there's a Jerry Lewis. And for every government, there's a Lewinsky. Yes, we have certainly had our share of funny, and in most cases, harmless comedians. Humor seems to permeate daily life, helping us cope with a myriad of situations. You want to make friends? Use humor. You want to have a good job interview? Use humor. You want to lose 10 pounds in just 30 days? Use Jenny Craig. But hey, that's one of the only exceptions. Nowadays, almost every discussion that we have seems to be seasoned with jokes. The use of jokes seems to allay stressful situations and provide us with a positive outlook on life. So yes, humor can be a good thing, but it has also often been the source of pain, negativity, and degradation. Of course, well, I personally wouldn't know anything about being the butt of a distasteful joke. After all, why on earth would anybody make fun of poor little me, right? Okay, poor me. Those people who cannot or will not resort to typical bullying often use humor as their fist. This is a form of self-protection. However, according to Dr. Jan Hughes of the Department of Educational Psychology at Texas A&M University, it is better to give up your money and go without lunch than to risk being ridiculed in front of others. No? Okay, I won't even share my lunch with my friends, let alone bullies. No. The only way I'm losing my lunch is if it doesn't agree with my stomach. Now, Dr. Hughes goes on to say, get this, if the bully isn't much larger than the victim, and the bully hits him, the child should hit the bully back. What a brilliant idea. Why Why didn't I think of that? Excuse me, how tall are you? 5'8" and K. You're going down. Come on. There are certainly better ways of handling such a situation. Hitting back is simply unoriginal. Why don't we start using our heads instead of our fists? Have you ever stopped to wonder why it is that bullies feel the need to belittle others? Well, according to Jamie Rubenstein of the Phoenix Sun, insecurity is a primary reason for unprovoked aggression. We will resort to anything to fit in. How fitting, then, that this segues nicely into the use of positive humor. Okay, so we've already seen what the sharp edge of the humor sword can do, so let's take a look at the blunt edge. Last spring, I was giving my final performance as Tevye in the gigantic, lavish, extravagant, really off-Broadway. All right, it was a school production of Fiddler on the Roof. Anyway, it was only after wrapping up the last scene of the first act that I realized my zipper had been down throughout the first half of the play. Can you say humiliating? I could. I was absolutely mortified. I needed to save face, so I turned the situation around. See, my first line of the second act was supposed to be, "Dear God, Muddle keeps asking for a new sewing machine." Instead, I found myself delivering the following line. "Dear God, Muddle keeps asking for a new sewing machine. Maybe now I can get a new zipper." The ad-lib proved that humor, done effectively, causes people to dismiss our shortcomings. As Francois de la Rochefoucauld once said, wit sometimes enables us to act rude with impunity. So now I always perform with my zipper down. Made you look. The moral of the story isn't that we should run out immediately and enroll in the Chevy Chase School of Improv, but it illustrates how humor, especially the self-deprecating kind, can diffuse the most stressful situation and turn it to your advantage. According to Stress Blasters by Brian Chichester and Perry Garfinkel, and we can guess at the source of their childhood stress, researchers now know a great deal about the stress-relieving aspects of humor. For instance, 100 laughs are the aerobic equivalent to 10 minutes on a rowing machine, and all this time my mom's been telling me I don't exercise enough. And according to Marcia Keesef of the San Diego Union Tribune, studies have proven that laughing increases circulation, works abdominal muscles, oxygenates the body, and raises heart rates. And according to the Arizona Republic article entitled, "He Who Laughs Most is Most Likely to Last," B cells, which produce disease-destroying antibodies, and T cells, which orchestrate the body's immune response, rise with laughter. Well, hey, maybe we should switch from Gesundheit to, "Did you hear the one about?" But how funny is it that we don't truly understand the essence of humor until personal tragedy strikes? Such is the case with comedian Julius Sweeney's life. You see, Sweeney, who created the androgynous Pat character on the hit television series Saturday Night Live, learned the value of laughing in the face of adversity. When personal tragedy struck, her use of humor would forever change her life. After learning that her brother had been diagnosed with cancer, Sweeney left the show and stayed home, acting as her brother's caretaker. Within 4 months, Sweeney herself was diagnosed with cancer. She and her brother dubbed their house the International House of Cancer and took other comedic approaches in dealing with the situation. However, 5 months later, Sweeney's brother died, and she was left to battle the disease by herself. Fortunately, Sweeney overcame the cancer and once again turned to her humor sword for protection. As an outlet for her pain, Sweeney wrote the one-woman play entitled God Said Ha. As Woody Allen eloquently put it, comedy equals tragedy plus time. And in her one-woman show, Julia Sweeney discovers that the best comedy is encountered not when performing, but when it is used to maintain a sense of peace in the face of seemingly insurmountable pain. Isn't it funny that we often use humor as a mask to cover up all of those everyday emotions such as fear, anger, and sadness that make us who we are. Heck, the slogan of our lives really seems to be laugh and the world laughs with you. Cry and you cry alone. However, we mustn't fear all of those wonderful emotions that color our lives. For although humor is a key element in our well-being, we must not forget that a sword is made up of more than just its blade. Consequently, humor and sadness seem to be interrelated. As the great Groucho Marx once said, and please forgive my impersonation, if I didn't know sadness, I wouldn't have spent my whole life trying to make people laugh. We must follow in the footsteps of Julia Sweeney and the many others like her who have managed to use humor during times of tragedy. British novelist J.B. Priestley once stated, "Humor, we may say, is society protecting itself with a smile." Now, I know what you're all thinking. What does all this mean for me and my personal encounters with the BWOC? Big woman on campus. Well, I may still face bullies on occasion, but now I have two choices. Either to again deliver a scathing and demeaning punchline, or to face them, and to perhaps use humor to help them truly see themselves, identify their own insecurities, and maybe to laugh for the right reasons. And just remember, when using humor, it really doesn't matter what you say or even how you say it, but what you mean by it. So, in the words of Charlie Chaplin,